In Portuguese football, FC Porto is more than a club from the north. It is a symbol of ambition, resistance, and competitive obsession. Officially known as Futebol Clube do Porto, the club is based in the city of Porto and is best known for its professional football team in the Primeira Liga, Portugal's top division. Alongside Benfica and Sporting CP, Porto belongs to Portugal's famous Big Three, the trio of clubs that have never been relegated from the top flight. But Porto's story is not simply about survival. It is about becoming the most successful club in Portuguese football by major trophies, building a fierce identity, and repeatedly proving itself on the European stage. FC Porto was founded on September 28, 1893, making it one of the oldest sporting institutions in Portugal. Its rise was shaped by geography as much as football. While Benfica and Sporting emerged from Lisbon, Porto carried the pride of Portugal's second city and the wider northern region. That north versus capital dynamic became a major part of the club's emotional identity. For supporters, known as Portistas, Porto often represents more than match results. It represents a city with its own culture, work ethic, and sense of defiance. Over time, that identity helped fuel one of Europe's most intense football institutions. The club's nicknames capture its personality perfectly. Porto are called the Dragos, or dragons, because of the mythical creature displayed on the club crest. The dragon suggests power, danger, and protection, and it has become central to the club's image. They are also known as the Azuis e Brancos, the blue and whites, a reference to their traditional striped shirts and blue shorts. These are not just design details. In football, colors and symbols become a language of belonging. For Porto fans, the blue and white stripes and the dragon crest instantly communicate loyalty, pride, and a history of fighting above expectations. For decades, FC Porto played at the Estádio das Antas, a ground that became deeply connected to the club's 20th century rise. But in 2003, Porto moved into a modern new home, the Estádio do Dragão, or Dragon Stadium. The name was not accidental. It linked the stadium directly to the club's identity and projected a new era of confidence. The move came at a crucial moment, just as Porto were becoming a serious European force again. The stadium gave the club a modern stage, improved infrastructure, and a powerful visual symbol, a home built around the idea of the dragon. Domestically, Porto's record is enormous. The club has won 31 Portuguese league titles, placing it among the defining forces of the Primeira Liga. One of its most remarkable achievements came between the 1994-95 and 1998-99 seasons, when Porto won 5 consecutive league championships, a Portuguese football record. That run mattered because it showed Porto could dominate over multiple seasons, not just produce isolated title wins. League success requires consistency, squad depth, tactical discipline, transfer planning, and the ability to win under pressure week after week. Porto mastered that formula and turned it into an era. Porto's trophy cabinet stretches far beyond league titles. The club has collected 20 Taça de Portugal titles, 4 Campeonato de Portugal titles, 1 Taça de Liga, and a record 25 Super Taça Cândido de Oliveira victories. Taken together, these achievements help explain why Porto is described as the most successful club in Portuguese football by total major trophies, with 88. Cup competitions test clubs differently from leagues. A single bad night can end the campaign. Super Cups demand immediate sharpness at the start of a season. Porto's repeated success across formats shows a culture designed not only to compete, but to collect silverware. 2 league seasons stand out for their perfection. Porto won the Primeira Liga unbeaten in both 2010-11 and 2012-13, becoming one of only 2 teams to achieve that feat in Portugal. The 2010-11 campaign was especially dominant. Under a 3 points for a win system, Porto finished 21 points ahead of the runner-up, the largest gap ever recorded between champion and second place in that format. Going unbeaten is not just about attacking quality. It requires concentration in difficult away matches, resilience after setbacks, and a mentality that treats every point as essential. For Porto, that season became a statement of total control. What separates Porto from most clubs outside Europe's biggest leagues is its international record. Porto is the most decorated Portuguese club in international competitions, with 7 major international trophies. The club won the European Cup, now the UEFA Champions League, in 1987 and again in 2004. It also won the UEFA Cup, later known as the Europa League, in 2003 and 2011. Add the 1987 UEFA Super Cup and the Intercontinental Cups of 1987 and 2004, and Porto's global reputation becomes clear. This is not a club that only dominates at home. It has repeatedly turned domestic strength into continental success. The 1987 European Cup triumph remains one of the club's foundational legends. At that time, winning Europe's top club competition was a massive statement for a Portuguese side, especially against wealthier and more internationally visible opponents. That victory announced Porto as a club capable of competing with Europe's elite. It also gave the Dragon identity a continental meaning. Porto were not merely strong in Portugal, they could defeat the best beyond their borders. The same year, the club added the UEFA Super Cup and the Intercontinental Cup, turning one European success into a wider claim of international excellence. The early 2000s created another golden chapter. Porto won the UEFA Cup in 2003, then followed it by winning the Champions League in 2004. That back-to-back European impact was extraordinary because it came from outside the financial center of the continent's richest leagues. The 2004 Champions League title remains one of modern football's most memorable achievements, proof that tactical organization, recruitment, and belief can disrupt the expected hierarchy. Porto also won the Intercontinental Cup in 2004, extending the meaning of that Champions League run beyond Europe. It was a reminder that Porto's greatest teams do not just win, they travel. Porto's European success is also defined by rare combinations of trophies. The club is the only Portuguese team to have won the UEFA Cup or Europa League, the UEFA Super Cup, and the Intercontinental Cup. It also achieved continental trebles in 2002-03 and 2010-11, combining domestic league, domestic cup, and European titles. A treble requires balance across different pressures, the long marathon of the league, the knockout intensity of the cup, and the tactical variety of European opponents. Porto accomplishing this twice shows how the club has periodically built squads capable of sustaining excellence on several fronts at once. In the Champions League era, Porto has remained a regular presence. The club has made 27 appearances in the Champions League group or league stage, a total surpassed only by Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Bayern Munich. That statistic is important because consistency in Europe is difficult, especially for clubs from leagues with smaller television markets than England, Spain, Italy, or Germany. Porto's continued presence reflects a model built on scouting, player development, disciplined selling, and constant reinvention. Even when star players leave, the club often rebuilds and returns to the continental stage with a new generation. At the end of the 2024-25 season, Porto ranked 18th in the UEFA Club Coefficient ranking, a sign of continued relevance in European competition. Rankings change, squads change, and football economics keep shifting, but Porto's identity has endured: blue and white stripes, a dragon on the crest, a city behind the team, and a history of refusing to be limited by geography or budget. From domestic records to Champions League nights, FC Porto's story is the story of a club that turned regional pride into international power. In Portuguese football, the dragon is not mythology. It is a living force. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.